Hello and welcome to another episode of Farm to Table Northern Ontario Cooking Show. We're doing the burger and chips episode. We're featuring two local farms and one a little further away. We've got Nico from Black Juniper Farm in Chelmsford, and we've got Mike from Green Zone Farm out in Chelmsford. We've also got a couple ingredients that we source at the local farmers market here in Sudbury, coming from Martin's Country Market. You can see the bacon and the elk, and we'll talk about those more in a moment. We've got a couple of buns, brioche buns from the grocery store, some green onions, tomato, beautiful greens, and shishito peppers. I'm going to do something called Pico de Gallo. Pico de Gallo is similar to salsa. I'm going to do it today using these green onions, the tomato, and the shishito peppers. If I don't find that I've got the heat that I want, I do have one organic black jalapeno that I'll add to the recipe at that point. Alright, so we're going to start out by doing the Pico de Gallo. So get your knife nice and sharp. You should be able to just eyeball this one here. I'm going to need at least half this tomato. You want to go with like 1/4 inch slices, something like that. And then just go through it like so. Tomato, get it in there. After I put the tomato in, I get some sea salt, a good 3-finger pinch. You want that to actually start to break down the tomato just a little bit. And now I can chop up the green onion. The shishitos should have a little bit of punch to them, but they do have the occasional mildness, and I just want to have a little bit of heat to it. And the onion whites have that. And then we're adding the green onion. I actually want to get a nice large spoon and just give it a bit of a mix. Let it get started to break down. Shishitos, I think I measured out about 100 grams worth. I don't want them all to be perfect rings. I also don't want them to be chopped up super fine. And in go the peppers. Last but not least, I have a little bit of avocado oil. Really don't need a lot of it. Get a bit more salt now. When you're doing salsas, bruschetta, pico, you would be surprised how much salt it actually takes to make it taste the way you want it to. But there you go, and that's going to sit on the side until we're ready with the rest of the burger components. A lot of people have tried this. I haven't, so new to me. I'm going to try making kale chips. I did cut off the stems to put those to compost, and we're going to cut these up. Centimeter and a half slices across the stem. And our fryer we've got at 325. I think that's going to be sufficient for temperature. Always be careful when you're deep frying. Whenever you're frying something like this and it's a bit different to you, start out with a couple pieces first. See how it turns out. If you like the way it does, then you'll know what to do with a larger batch. And it seems like it's probably going to take about a minute. And the oil in this container is below the halfway point, and when I put this in, it's going to come up fairly high. I've actually got something that I will be using to season the burgers. Not much. Oh yeah, those look nice. Kale chips. So the elk from Green Zone Farms, I get this in the freezer for a couple hours. I can just barely put my thumb into it. It's a shoulder roast, almost no fat, less than 1% from what I can see, very lean. Since there's no fat, and every good burger should have about 20% fat in it. It's what gives it that wonderful texture that you enjoy, the crumbly sear, the crust. So to achieve that and also add some wonderful smoky flavor, we're going to be putting in some side bacon. So we're going to start doing the patties. Got the elk. It's a bit firm, and that's what you want. I'm going to cut that up. It's about 850 grams. And what I've got here is the side bacon, and I've got about 320 grams. So basically I've got almost a third of the weight of the elk in bacon, and I guess half of that third ends up being fat, give or take. For now, what we're doing is really thin This is thawing as it sits on the cutting board. I don't really want to have it completely thawed out because then it would just be sliding back and forth on the cutting board and it's not going to make for easy slicing. Right now you can see this is nice, organized, pretty precise. And then we're going to be doing the same thing with the bacon, blending it together, not putting any spices in it. We'll do that when we cook. So it's going to start looking like this. Basically, once you get all your nice thin slices, you want to go through that like so. Once you get through it like so, and you do that for a couple minutes until you get a nice consistency of chopped up. You're going to put that into a mixing bowl and continue adding the rest of the ingredients until we get the blend that we like. A little bit of cohesion by working this meat is going to be good. Don't do that with standard ground stuff that you get from, whether it's from your farmer or from the grocery store, or whether you grind it yourself. Once it's been ground, you don't want to spend that much time working it. The lean elk is now finally getting blended in with this nice smoky, streaky bacon. So the patties, you want to get these, I like them to be nice 5 ounce. So tear off a chunk, put it in your scale, 5.0, that's what we want. We're going to do something called smash burger. Now I'm going to turn the grill up. I've got the flat top grill on. So I'm going to take a little bit of the bacon fat, rendered up, I rendered some earlier, and just get a little bit of across the griddle. You don't need a lot of this, it's just so that it doesn't stick too much. For this application, you do want it to stick. And I am going to be using the hood, because I don't feel like setting off the alarm again. So, get that on there. Take a look at your time. In 1 minute, I'm going to use the smash technique to form the burger. But what's happening in the interim is we've actually got a caramelization starting. The bacon is melting, lubricating the pan. As it does that, we actually want to see pockets of the fat sort of melt out. It creates voids, spots that once we smash it down, you'll start to see those start to melt. Put a little bit of seasoning, and that's how the salt goes all the way through. So I don't put a lot of salt in the burger. With the bacon, you especially don't need it, but even if I'm doing plain ground. Let's see, our minute's up by now. I've got this silly little thing that I made. It's an old crepe pan, probably about 8-inch round, and I've got a bumper hitch on it. Gives me a good spot to hold on to. Count to 10. Get that smashed down. Really straightforward. So, goes about 2 minutes the way they are. And you can actually see it starting to melt now, so I'm going to get the seasoning on it. Just a basic salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder. You want to leave that on there until you see the sides start to brown. Get underneath it carefully with a nice sharp spatula. This is from an elk roast. It's not from grocery store scraps or anything. So if you decide you want to do yourself a rare burger, go ahead. It's up to you. I'm going to do this a little bit past medium. It's where I like my burgers to be at. All right, so we're going to flip these burgers and get that nice crust underneath there. Beautiful. Here. A little bit of a press down, not much. Don't want to squeeze juices out, and that's that. So we're going to go about 2 more minutes, and they're done. All right, so we've got all the components assembled here. We've got the Pico de Gallo with the shishito, the green onion, tomatoes, a little bit of added black jalapeno for heat. We've also got the, my kids call it the all sauce. Mayo, mustard, ketchup, a little bit of diced onion, and a little bit of diced dill pickle. Beautiful greens here from Nico at Black Juniper, and Mike Sonen's elk with the Martin's Country Market bacon. These are just off the griddle, ready to go. Here's how I do the assembly. So, sauce the bottom, sauce the top. So I got that in place. I'm going to put a little bit of greens. Shame on me, I'm going to do things a bit different. I'm going to put this on the bottom. And we'll get these stacked up on top. Now, the tricky part. Do you put it onto the burger patty or do you put it onto the bun? I think I'm going to put it on the bun. That should be good. Slide these to the side. Leave those nice open-faced. And now for our kale chips. Gotta be careful handling these. These are gonna shatter on you. Nico and Mike, you guys really outdid yourselves with your ingredients, so really, this is just a straightforward, simple usage of those ingredients, and man, that looks pretty sharp. All right. It's so good. You guys gotta try this. Get a hold of Nico and get a hold of Mike. Get out to the farmer's market. Get some of this stuff. Also, get yourself some farm to table merch. Our link is in the bio. I know the wife and I are gonna have supper now. Thanks a lot.